You may start now.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Terence from GSMA, heading APAC 5G industry community. So welcome again to join our logistic port and transportation workshop today. Today, our focus is on how 5G IoT will define logistics and transportation. So this is a workshop, so we welcome you to post the question in the Q&A boxes as our speaker can try to answer you online after their presentation. So this workshop also provides simultaneous Mandarin translation. You can select the Chinese menu in the Zoom button. So today we have very good lineup of speakers across the market, across different transportation sector. So we have 2 hour very comprehensive content. So after my quick overview of 5G IoT, we will have the first speaker from Counterpoint Research from an analyst perspective to share about how 5G IoT will define logistics and transportation. And then next, we invite a global 5G Automotive Association, 5GAA, to speak about how they drive the cellular V2X for transportation. So the topic will be connected mobility for people, vehicle, transport infrastructure. And then next, we invite a Singapore mobile operator M1, who will share about how they open new possibility with 5G coverage over waterways. And then next, we have a pair of speakers from Thailand who are going to jointly share with you their learning and deployment in 5G warehouse logistics. The pair of speakers is coming from Thailand mobile operator AIS, and also their very close partner, National Electronic and Computer Technology Center, NECTEC. And finally, we have a panel to discuss how we can accelerate digital transformation with policy, technology, and ecosystem partnership, moderated by Mohammed Kahari, the founder of Long Street Advisor consultant firm. Jointly with the panelists coming from different transportation experts, including PSA Singapore, which is a port operator, and also the aviation expert from Huawei Technology. And finally is from a satellite IoT company, Satellite. So welcome to stay tuned to enjoy our content. So let's start. If in case you don't know GSMA, we are a mobile industry association, represent more than 1,000 members across 200 markets globally. So we are very focused on supporting the industry to drive digital economy using the newest technology, including 5G, IoT, AI, metaverse. So every year we produce very large B2B mobile industry event, bringing more than 200,000 people together in NWC, Barcelona, Shanghai, Las Vegas, Africa. Regionally, we also host a conference brand as Mobile 360. This year, we have an event on Seoul on September. So at the end of last year, 5G commercialization already reached to more than 87 markets globally, more than 223 mobile operators roll out 5G. And in our region, APAC, we also have more than 90 markets already roll out 5G, covering North, South, and also East. So as you are aware, APAC is a very huge market with great opportunity, but also very fragmented. So we, as a global industry association, we bring together our member, also government, and also enterprise and technology leader to form this APAC 5G industry community. Our purpose is to support government, industry to learn and accelerate the adaptation of 5G in different verticals. So we form different industry interest groups, including manufacturing, today logistics, port and transportation, healthcare, And this year, we're also expanding to 2 more focus groups. One is on energy mining and utility, and the other one is on smart city and public sector. So we already produced more than 12 workshops on different interest groups for different sectors. More than 100 digital pioneers already share their 5G journey, their story, perspective applicable in different sectors. And we also produce a lot of good case study, and we support local government or mobile operator to roll out national alliance on different markets. In order to support you, we plan ahead of whole year activity, virtually and also physically. So after this workshop, we will also have the MWC Shanghai on end of June. And then we will also work with Thailand government, DEPR, MDEX, to run a 5G summit at Bangkok. And then on September, we will have a M360 APAC at Seoul, working with Korean government and mobile ecosystem. And then on end of the year, around December time, we will also have a physical healthcare event at Singapore, working with NUHS, IMDA, and Hollow Medicine Association, bringing healthcare expert and mobile industry expert together. So for the next physical event, we really welcome you to go to Shanghai. After COVID, China just reopened the border. And then this year, the theme will be about unleashing tomorrow's technology for today. So we have 3 days conferences and also very large exhibition. We are focusing on 3 key themes. One is about 5G transformation, looking closely on how monetization for 5G for innovative business modeling, 5G spectrum for the next phases, and also edge cloud network computing, private network, how 5G AI building the next wave of computing power. And then we also have reality theme, which talk about bringing the metaverse back to reality, the investment for metaverse, the immersive experience, and also the future of social gaming in a digital world. And also we have digital everything, talking about how 5G being applied into a digital economy, 5G city for today and tomorrow, and also 5G for manufacturing and other sector. Besides this kind of conferences, we also will tailor-make some private meeting for roundtable, like the Digital Leader Roundtable for senior CXO participation. And also we will have some customized tours for on-site or off-site visiting some of the signature 5G project in China. Of course, we will have networking business opportunity and providing you guys information pack for easy to access the Shanghai MWC. We also provide the free passes for our VIP guests. So if you are coming to Shanghai, you can connect me and let me know, and then we can offer some passes for you for access. Again, welcome to join our community. You can access the information and activity that we are planned along the whole year. So back to our topic today, logistics, port, and transportation. Here are some very high-level marketing figures did by different analysts and enterprise. So for example, DHL forecast IoT will be open up 1.9 trillion opportunity in logistics. And 5G is one of the key enablers to highlight that can facilitate data-driven analytics and also a lot of automation process. And then this also applies to land, transportation, sea, and sky. So you see connected car, actually they are going to contribute more than 286 billion opportunity with the technology. And also 75% of seaport operator looking forward for be more competitive using automation technology. So again, 5G is a very important enabler to support. And for global 5G aviation market, they are also looking for 10 billion opportunity, almost 47% annual compound growth rate from 2021 up to 2028. So enterprise IoT already is taking a very critical portion to drive the IoT adaptation. In this chart, you can see did by GSMA Intelligence, in 3 sectors, there's the most important to drive the enterprise IoT adaptation. One is the manufacturing, the other one is smart building, and the third one is the enterprise other, which including logistics and transportation. So 5G is a technology really useful not only for consumer devices in a mobile phone scenario. It's really defined for Industry 4.0. It can apply to a lot of use cases in logistics, port, and transportation. I think most of you obviously see this chart before about different kind of 5G feature. Here, I would like to highlight, actually, this all 5G feature will be enable broadband IoT, massive IoT, and also critical IoT. And in addition, there are V2X technology that can allow transportation safety and autonomous driving. And then in release 17 and 18, you will see WebCap, which is a replacement of existing Cat 4 and Cat 1 in LTE with 5G. And also there are new technology, passive IoT, which will be coming forward in release 18 or later. It is a technology compatible with RFID, but it's much more powerful. It could be coverage more than 10 times better than RFID. So I think the good news is you see already a lot of pioneer in APAC adopting 5G technology in this logistic port and transportation sector. Today, you will hear some example from our expert coming from Hong Kong, Global, and also Singapore and Thailand. So now let me quickly introduce the first speaker, which is coming from Counterpart Research, Suman Madel, the Senior Research Analyst of IoT and Automotive and Device Ecosystem. Over to you, Suman. You can share your slide, please.
Yeah, thank you, Terence, for your nice introduction. Let me share my screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So welcome everyone to today's keynote session on 5G IoT with Redefine Logistics and Transportation. And thank you, GSMA and APAC 5G industry community for giving me this opportunity. And nonetheless, thanks to our audience for joining this workshop. So I am Soumen Mandal, Senior Analyst at Counterpoint, tracking IoT and automotive ecosystem. I am interested in anything related to IoT, starting from components, devices, connections, security, or end applications. Or related to automotive, it can be the latest trends, what is happening on like electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles, or digital cockpit, or supply chain disruption, whatever is happening in the industry. And in case you have any queries, so you can reach out to the mail ID, Twitter ID, and LinkedIn ID provided below in this chart. So before going to today's topic, let me give you some brief introduction about our organization Counterpoint. So Counterpoint started its journey through smartphone research. Slowly, we diversified our domain into IoT, semiconductor, automotive, telecom infrastructure, eSIM, consumer research, and many all. And this slide helps you to understand how much expertise our industry analysts brings to the table. So you can see all of our directors are having more than 15 years of experience, either in a consulting firm or in a OEM. And we are a global TMT research firm, so we have presence in US, Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, India, China, UK, Netherlands, and Korea, Taiwan too. So before going to the topic, so give me some brief introduction what 5G can help into the logistics and transformation field. So that's why I think this chart is very good to give you some context. I think Terence also talked about this chart, and most of the industry people are aware about this chart. How 5G will be helping in massive and broadband and critical IoT adoption. So in the initial phase, 5G NR based applications started with EMMB. So they focused on the applications like smart home and AR/VR based applications. In the next page, what massive IoT connections will be happening across the applications like smart city, asset tracking, predictive maintenance type of applications, and where URLLC will be requiring high level of latency because higher latency can be critical and can lead to fatal accident for applications like autonomous vehicles, connected drones, or it may be smart manufacturing. And this slide talks about what is the current status of 5G network deployments. So now more than 480 operators are working on 5G network deployments. So far there are nearly 240 5G networks are operating. So among them, 42 operators are having 5G standalone capability. And if you look at 5G adoption, so far Western Europe is leading with having 68 5G operators, and followed by Asia Pacific 53. That you can see how Asia Pacific region is also catching up with the other parts, or you can say Western parts of the world. So that's why I think this is the time for Asia Pacific region also to focus on IoT adoption, and that will help the companies into digital transformation. And in the previous slide, we talked about like what is the current status of network deployment. And this slide will help you what about future. So we expect that there will be nearly 4.5 billions of 5G connections by 2027. So if you look at the total connections, so obviously China will be having nearly 30% of total connections, and followed by Southeast Asia and Oceania, India, and Western Europe and North America. But if you look at the 5G penetration, obviously North America is expected to lead by having 90% of 5G penetration, and followed by Western Europe and China. Then if you look at the other Asia Pacific regions or countries like India, is expected to have around 39% 5G connections, and Southeast Asia region is expected to have around 45% connection. So that means there is huge potential for 5G to grow even beyond 2027. So that's why many international brands are also focusing into this region currently. And talking about benefits of 5G, so like last decade, 4G connections were driven by smartphones. After launching Apple iPhone, so we saw the last decade was for smartphone, and smartphone only drove the 4G connections and supported by other personal devices like laptop and PCs. But in this decade, what will drive 5G? That is society and business transformation. That means what digital transformation is happening across the all segments, starting from transportation, automotive, healthcare, retail. So digital transformation will be key for 5G transformation in this decade, and that will also drive most of the connections. And now in the few slides black, we talked about the relationship between throughput, capacity, and latency. And this slide helps you to understand the relationship between latency and bandwidth. So we know that for some applications, higher latency can work. So applications like sensor-based applications in smart agriculture wearables field. So their higher latency with lower speed will work. But if you look at the mission critical applications like autonomous car or remote surgery, or you can say like advanced manufacturing. So in there, any latency can impact on efficiency and lead to fatal accidents. So that's why latency will be very critical for mission critical IoT application. And then if you look at the other content and media based IoT application, where latency will be varied depending upon applications, but the bandwidth requirement will be always higher. So if you look at the applications like video streaming, their higher latency can work. But AR/VR applications or real-time gaming, so their higher latency can impact on the efficiency, or you can say performance of any of the applications or gaming built on top of that. And now we'll be talking about what is the market potential for 5G in the era of IoT and automotive. And in this slide, you can see that so in 2022, most of the asset tracking, telematics, and automotive applications were based on 4G and LPWA technologies like LTM plus NB-IoT. And if you look at the right side of the pie chart, in 2030, where we are expecting that 5G will be the leading technology, followed by 5G RedCap. And the total 5G, including 5G RedCap and 5G RedCap, that will be having or contributing to 2/3 of total shipments in these three categories. So that means we can say like mostly 4G will be replaced by 5G, but still LTM and NB-IoT will be coexisting at that time. But another angle is coming on current time, that is, so most of the operators are shutting down 2G and 3G networks. So that's why we can see some of the operators are offering 4G Cat 1 and 4G Cat 1 based solution to replace the existing 2G and 3G devices. But beyond 2027 or 2028, when 5G RedCap and 5G eRedCap will be in the massive adoption phase, so at that time we can also expect some switching from 4G Cat 1 base or 4G Cat 1 to 5G eRedCap. Coming to the next slide, and this slide is related to automotive applications and purely built for passenger cars. And we are expecting that total 5G connected cars shipments, cumulative shipments, will be more than 300 million between 2022 to 2030. And if we need to further split 5G by 5G RedCap and 5G RedCap, we can see that out of 98 million car shipments, connected car shipments in 2030 is having mostly 5G, because at that time we expect that the NAC module and NAC chipset price will be also coming down near to $50 USD, and that will be also price comparable to the latest what 4G Cat 6 and other modules are offering. So that's why we are thinking 5G will be having more than 90% market share. The another reason for 5G to have greater share because of software-defined vehicles and autonomous vehicles. So their latency and bandwidth will be very critical factor. So that's why 5G will be having more market share compared to 5G RedCap and eRedCap. But 5G RedCap and eRedCap will be applicable for asset tracking, telematics, or aviation, or even marine type of based applications. So we talked about latest telecom infrastructure, and then we talked about in the past like market potential. Now we have to understand how component players or how supply chain is prepared to offer 5G offerings to the ecosystem. So if you look at this slide, like in 2019, Qualcomm and Huawei at first launched 5G automotive grade chipsets, and then followed by MediaTek in 2020 and Samsung in 2021. So we are also expecting rivalry between Qualcomm, MediaTek, and Samsung in automotive chipset market. But so far, Qualcomm is leading miles ahead of MediaTek and Samsung in automotive chipset market. And now coming to the module segment. So LG Innotek was the first to launch automotive grade NAND module. And then the next phase of adoption were done by mostly Chinese module vendors like Kiftel, Fibocom, Neoway, Simcom. Another international module vendor, Rolling Wireless, also launched 5G module in 2021. So from this chart, we can see that most of the modules came into the market in 2021 and 2022. So that's why we are expecting so that TCU will be came into the mass adoption in 2022 or 2023. So that's why you can see in the TCU chart, like in 2020, only Chinese players launched 5G TCU, and Harman was the first international brand to launch 5G TCU or T-Box, and followed by Continental and Lear in 2022. So that's why we are expecting 2023 will be crucial year for 5G adoption in automotive space. And in terms of platform, we know that most of the premium and leading automakers are already working on 5G platform, starting from Tesla, BYD, or BMW, GM. But this chart is not exhaustive. Even beyond this chart, some players like Mercedes-Benz is also working. And this chart would have been relevant if we need to discuss few years back. So now we know that DSRC has no such future, and CV2X is at the center stage. As China in the initial time focused on the CV2X deployments, so that's why China is ahead of CV2X deployment against other countries in the world. And this is one important and complex slide. And this slide helps you to understand how CV2X evolution happened. So if we need to go back to 2016, where basic CV2X capabilities came into the market, and then in 2020 to 2022, where in release 14.15. So at that time, vehicles were able to communicate with base stations through both a vehicle to V2N network via EU interface. And in beyond 2025, we are expecting that that discrete short-range communication will come, where sidelink will be also supported, and use cases like real-time location, traffic signal times can be important. Now coming to the some 5G automotive use cases. So this is the actually total ecosystem of 5G in automotive space, starting from chipset players, NAT module players, TCU suppliers, telco service and service providers, platform players, cloud players, and at the end security players. Everyone has their own role to play for the success of 5G in automotive, logistics, and transportation field. So robust partnership will help to make this success happen easily. And these are the some applications. I'll be taking only one applications, like only you can see like how Qualcomm made partnership with Kiptel on the Snapdragon Digital Chassis platform, and that is also helping Kiptel to win more automotive contracts in the domestic market for offering CV2X offerings. And in the next slide, if you look at the current models which are offering 5G, so that you can see mostly those are from China. But global players were also adopting. So BMW was also one of the very first to adopt 5G in the 5G connected car market. And now coming to the key takeaways slide. So I think like that 5G adoption will be faster in logistics and transformation, but I think a robust partnership will be required. I think everyone has to come in one place and help each other to develop a killer application which can be beneficial for everyone. But again, the price point is not helping the total automotive and transportation industry to adopt 5G at the current stage. So that's why 5G is still in the niche base. But I think with the coming of 5G rate cap and with the dropping ASP of 5G, we expect that 5G will be start adopting starting from 2023. And again, it will be also interesting to see how 5G market will work in when 6G will be kicking off around 2019. And in terms of 5G adoption, so far, China is leading across the global, but slowly Europe, North America, those are catching up. And it will be also interesting to see how price sensitive market like Southeast Asian and also Indian market picks up 5G based solution in the future course of time. That's all, and thank you. And if you have any questions, please share on the Q&A section. I'll be happy to answer those.
Yeah, thanks, Soman. I think it's a very informative insight for us to learn about the development. Especially, I love to see the journey, how the technology evolve and supporting more use case, and also seeing, different kind of module chipset, to prepare the opportunity. So thanks again. So now let me introduce the next speaker, Dr. Johannes Springer. He's from the Director General of 5G Automotive Association. Over to you, Johannes. Please share your slide.
Yes, I would like to do so, but somebody
Suman, can you stop sharing?
Needs to stop the sharing. Thank
yes.
you.
Suman, can you stop sharing? Hello?
Yeah,
Suman?
yeah, I'm trying. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Meanwhile, for the audience, you can ask question to Soman and the rest of the speaker. Just put your question in the Q&A tab. Soman will stay behind to answer you. He will text respond you. Okay, Johannes, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, Terence, and thanks for the GSMA for inviting me for this speech about connected mobility for people, vehicles, and transport infrastructure. My name is Johannes Springer. I'm working for Deutsche Telekom and representing also 5G Automotive Association as a Director General. What is the 5G Automotive Association? The 5G Automotive Association was founded 6 years ago to bring together the automotive industry and the telecommunications industry, mainly to bridge these, to align these two industries in order to facilitate mobility needs and to organize a smarter, safer, and environmentally friendlier ecosystem in the transportation and mobility area. So since this founding in September 2016, 8 companies founded the 5G Automotive Association. We are now more than 120 members. around the globe. So we are really a global association, which is very important for the automotive industry, because this industry is selling their products and operating their products, servicing their products around the globe based on globally harmonized standards. And that's the reason why 5G plays a very important role for connected and automated mobility. Our membership consists of 11 of the top 15 car manufacturers around the globe. 8 of the top 10 NOs are in line there. Top 2 top smartphone vendors are there. So all the car industry, including its supplier industry, I think that is also very important, is aligned in the 5GAA. The telco industry, including the supplier industry and also the chipset manufacturers and silicon manufacturers delivering hardware and connectivity solutions for the inside vehicle. So you can see here the logo list, and as I said, we are really a global association. So roughly 40% of the members are coming from Europe, 30% of the members are from the Americas, and 30% of the members from the Asian economic space. So our major aims and strategic objectives are around, of course, transportation. Logistics is not that much in the focus because mainly our members are coming from the private consumer car side, but I will also give here during the talk some examples from the logistics and how to adapt features and functions we are developing in 5GAA according to logistics needs and logistics use cases. Our services and solutions are, of course, very much related to digital roads. That is one very important, of course, fundament where the whole road transportation takes place. We are, of course, taking care about the digital vehicles, which are the assets and the products delivered and produced and sold by the car manufacturers. And of course, we are talking about digital users because many of the things happen on the road, not only between cars and between vehicles, but also between pedestrians, cyclists,
Johannes,
motorcycles,
sorry
trucks.
to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can you speak closer to the mic?
Yeah, is that better now?
Yeah, much better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the digital users are playing a very important role, of course, in terms of cyclists, pedestrians, motorcycles, buses, and so on. So we have a lot of assets which are also using the roads, which need to be connected and which need to be included in an overall safe and secure ecosystem. If we are talking about V2X and exchanging information between the various parties, of course, trust plays a very important role, and therefore how to organize trustful relationships between the various actors is an additional very important topic. And finally, and that is, of course, the core business of everybody who is working on connectivity and connectivity products, connectivity features and functions in the 5G advanced space. It's the connectivity part, the networks and the flexible architecture behind these networks. As already a bit described from the previous speaker, we have, of course, the C-V2X as a fundamental technology piece we are working for, we are using for connected and automated mobility. And the C-V2X consists mainly of 2 major connectivity components, that is the UU path and network path, where you can connect all the various assets via the network between each other and can exchange information, but also between the various participants, but of course also with cloud infrastructures and with services in the backend. And we have the C-V2X, the direct communication part, so-called PC5, which enables and facilitates the direct exchange between the various traffic participants on the road. And to combine the two for the benefit of the various use cases is one of the big ambitions of the 5G Automotive Association. When we have started in 2016, of course, a great evolution took place during the past 6 years. And we are working for this evolution and for this deployment path, we are working based on roadmaps, based on timelines, and these timelines are continuously renewed and prolonged on a yearly basis, and these timelines are forming mainly the basic, let's say, exchange of information and the management of the various activities needed to bring various use cases into the market. So we have right now a 2030 roadmap. The roadmap is published on our website. You can have a look onto it. And this roadmap, of course, includes all the various technology pieces which I mentioned already before. When these technology pieces play a role, that is one very important part, but most and foremost, the important part is in what kind of use cases these technology capabilities play an important role. We are also addressing these use cases and using these use cases to align with relevant standardization activities, like it is in the 3GPP, of course, which is a very important one, but also in other standardization activities like ETSI, like SAE, like China SAE, like ISO, and other relevant standardization bodies which are driving certain standards, which are not only directly connectivity related, but which are, for instance, related to the exchange of standardized message formats. So at the end, our major ambition with these roadmaps is to align and to synchronize, I would like to say, the various actors and the various activities in a way that the use cases we are addressing and we are aiming for are really deployed within a mass market style, and hopefully, of course, in a harmonized way across the globe in the various markets we are addressing. So these are very, very sketchy, some of the use cases we are aiming for, of course, with regard to traffic efficiency and safety, the distribution of local hazard and traffic information, the integration of vulnerable road users, pedestrians, cyclists, and so on into the ecosystem. To talk about intersection safety, which causes in many countries 50% of the fatalities on the road, and all these kind of things are addressed in one very important cluster of use cases. We are talking about hazard information collection and sharing of various hazard data, which can be gathered from the crowdsource of the vehicles on the roads, which can share this data, sensor data, between the vehicles which are at a certain spot, but also, of course, with the road operators who can take action according to that. And we are talking about use cases like automated valet parking, plant marshalling, teleoperated driving for automated vehicles, which play, of course, also a very important role in logistics and transportation. On the more long-term perspective, we are talking about cooperation, cooperative maneuvers, cooperative adaptive cruise control, and something like this, which is a very important topic when it comes to the cooperative style of the traffic. Everybody should be reminded that traffic is not an isolated area where every different road user is doing his job hopefully properly, but it is also very much about cooperation between the different driving actors and how to organize this cooperation properly. This is here on more long end. On the more long-term perspective. So I would like to give, because we are talking here in that session about logistics and transportation, so I have taken some of the examples out of this use case roadmap and would like to show what is already happening today and in what kind of directions we as 5GA community are working with various actors. As I said, it could be the car manufacturer, it could be service providers, like here, TomTom and other service providers who are providing services for the car. These are, of course, the first-tier manufacturers who are providing onboard infrastructure for these connected and automated driving vehicles. The silicon manufacturers are very much involved in the whole thing. The cloud operators, telco operators, if the whole thing is edge cloud relevant, and so on. So one very important use case when it comes to logistics is to avoid stopping of these heavy trucks, for instance, specifically at intersections which are close to harbor sites or close to big factory grounds and so on, where a lot of trucks and logistics shuttle traffic takes place. And to organize the traffic in a more smoother way, of course, you can simply make the intersection from a dump intersection into a smart intersection, which gets all the trajectories from the upcoming cars, which is proposing so-called green light optimal speed advisory information into the cars, and which improves at the end the green and the red states of the traffic lights to avoid unnecessary stopping of these heavy trucks. And this reduces CO2. This improves the flow and within around the city, and organize, of course, less waiting times for the haulier companies. So the second example, which addresses also a lot of fatalities, because mainly in the cities and in the city areas, the killed and violent road users are not sitting in a car. They are sitting on a bicycle, pedestrians, and so on. To include those, we are working also heavily how to exchange information, also maybe integrating or using edge cloud facilities to make right turn, left turn maneuvers between cars, between trucks, and the cyclists more safer, to distribute warnings if a collision achieves a certain collision probability. So Bosch has, for instance, invented a very nice example how to use this V2X ecosystem in terms of warning the road users for wrong-way drivers. It is completely cloud-based. It is live mainly in the Netherlands and Belgium, and also some parts of Germany. Many customers are participating in that, and they are sending their GNSS trajectories to an edge cloud, to a cloud service, which is operated by Bosch. And this cloud service then distributes various wrong-way driver warning messages if it is detected that the driver is in the wrong direction away on the motorway. So also a very good example how this kind of V2X interchange functionality can work and can be used to make road traffic more safe, more efficient, because every accident in that case here, of course, would produce directly traffic jams, which would then decrease traffic efficiency as well. So 5G and 5G advances, of course, also used for software updates, procedures, not only during driving when the vehicle is on the road, but of course also during the production process. And this is, of course, also very much very important. So we are not only talking about 5G on the roads, but we are talking about also 5G in the factories, to use 5G technology for various use cases within the factory, even in parallel to the production process, but of course also after finalizing the production process during the whole logistics process when the vehicle is shipped to the dealer. And this also leads to another example we are right now heavily discussing in the 5G community with the various actors, how to make this kind of plant marshalling activities more efficient when it comes to automation. So not to use the normal driver workforce to drive the vehicles from the end of the production line to the parking spot, and from the parking spot maybe here to a ship where the whole thing is then shipped from a logistics perspective, but to drive the vehicle completely remotely driven, and of course controlled and propagated and facilitated by a mobile network. So finally, I would like to give also an example about automation, logistics, and harbor areas when it comes to autonomous driving. And as every kind of automation system might have from time to time a failure or a hiccup, a problem, of course, teleoperation would play then also a very important role. So also teleoperated driving is a very important use case when it comes to logistics and transportation in general, whether it is freight transportation as shown here on the upper part of the slide, or passenger transportation with these kind of shuttle infrastructure and shuttle buses. So the teleoperator might take over the maneuver proposal and would give some driving assistance to these kind of automated driving vehicles once the vehicle has a certain problem in a certain traffic situation. And last but not least, of course, also truck platooning and group start and these kind of cooperative maneuvers are an important topic. It was a very, let's say, proposing use case in the past years. The whole thing is a bit now more downgraded because, of course, it creates a lot of specifically in dense traffic scenarios. So this is something we are still working on, but we will see how these kind of use cases will come into the market. Maybe not within the next upcoming 2 or 3 years, but later on more into the time frame of 2030. So in summary, 5G is delivering very valuable capabilities to improve traffic efficiency, safety, and to reduce CO2 emissions. Automation is playing a very important role also to increase logistics efficiency. So it is not only for driver convenience, but also for logistics efficiency. Automation, including various 5G capabilities, will also play an important role, of course, first of all in confined areas, but later on for advanced driving features in the vehicles. And 5G, with a whole bunch of capabilities, delivers many features like multi-access edge compute, like quality of service, quality on demand, network slicing, direct communication, and many more, which will come and which are under standardization, like non-terrestrial network, to increase the availability of the mobile networks for connected and automated driving use cases. So with that, I would like to end and would like to hand back to Terence and the GSMA, and of course, happy to answer some of the questions here in the Q&A. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Johannes. Very interesting presentation. Great to see a lot of good use cases you mentioned using the new technology. So there are already some questions to you in the Q&A tab. Please take a look and help to answer. Right. Next, I would like to invite Willis Sim. He's already on spot. Please share your slide. Willis is from the mobile M1 mobile operator in Singapore, the Chief Corporate Sales and Solution Officer. So welcome, Willis. Over to you.
Everybody. Terence, can you hear me? Everything
yes,
okay?
Very clearly.
Thank you. For those joining us today, welcome you and to the forums today. And thanks, Terence, for inviting me once again to GSMA. So let me just be covering 5G coverage over waterways today, all right? And let me introduce myself first. My name is Willis, so I run the corporate business here in M1. I'm actually very focused on the 5G solutions that is already very, very prevalent today. And I'll share with you some of the real key examples that we are launching in the market in Singapore today. Now, before I start, let me just introduce M1 to those who do not know M1. M1 is one of Singapore's leading full-service communication provider, and we are part of a company called Keppel Corporation. Keppel is actually a leading global asset manager and operator with strong capabilities in energy, environment, urban development, connectivity, which is the department, which is the unit that I belong to, creating solutions for a sustainable future. Now, as you can see, M1 has been involved in 5G since the onset in 2019. For those who are new to Singapore, we are the only country or one of the few countries in the world that implemented a full SA technology for 5G, and we go for the best technology now from day one. And as all the use cases as we have rolled out transcends more than just sea. I've done land, sea, and more recently last year, those who have known me, we actually went into the metaverse with Garden by the Bay, one of our most popular tourism spot in Singapore, and we also rolled out the coverage of the Southern Island, which I will cover a little more today to share with you what's really happening in 5G and what are things that are happening to bring this to commercialization. Now, for a start, let me explain to you why did we pick maritime to be a vertical for Singapore and for M1 to actually get into 5G here. I think from a historical perspective, Singapore is one of the world's busiest maritime ports. And we are an important global hub port where more than 130,000 ships call every year. And it's a place for more than 5,000 organizations and businesses to call home. So in terms of the business segment and the size, is really something ideal for somebody who want to use 5G to actually grow the markets. And extending the 5G coverage offshore and creating solutions for Singapore with M1 is a critical steps towards the next bound of maritime innovation as we support Singapore's effort to become a maritime capital. So these are the drivers of why we are rolling out 5G in Singapore today. Now, and when we look at the 5G in Singapore, we were the first to power the first maritime test bed. And with that, we learned a lot of lessons, all right? And slowly, as we deploy the network, we want to develop one of its kind unique 5G solutions in Southeast Asia that I could share with people who are here today. I've met many delegates from overseas countries who are also where we also have similar ports, and I'd like to share the same experience we have, and hopefully you can also use some of the use cases I have in your own country. And we are already collaborating with Malaysians, Brunei, and different countries in the region on some of the things that we are doing. Primarily, enhanced 5G coverage increases connectivity in the larger maritime ecosystem and unlocks endless opportunities for those who are looking for use case for 5G, all right? And it allows a lot of industrial players to trial new use case, and I'll share some with you later. Now, if you look at our original objective, it was primarily to drive digitalization effort for the maritime industry. For those of you who are familiar with maritime industry, it's a very traditional industry, and the efforts are moving, all right? But I think with 5G, this could accelerate the efforts to actually digitalize the entire industry. And what we noticed was that actually in the maritime industry, there was already a huge ecosystem of players who are looking for solutions and also connectivity to drive better end results for the customers. And I think we wanted to approach digitalization from a different angle, which I'll share with you later, right? I'm very, as you can see, my title is Corporate Sales and Solution Officer. Besides creating solutions, I also have to sell them, all right? So I think I'm looking for monetizations and to see how we can monetize 5G for all the telcos today, all right? And lastly, I think 5G will allow us to drive a transformation throughout for many of the companies, not just the shipping companies, but even supporting industries along the coastline of Singapore. Now, if you look at 5G today, what problem are we exactly solving? All right, for those of you who knows, on land, 5G is competing with landlines. In Singapore, it's difficult because in Singapore, our basic land connectivity is 1 gigabyte to the office, to the home. However, in the sea, I think we are still powered by 4G, and 4G as well as satellite, a solution that is slower in 4G and a satellite which is relatively more expensive, all right? So 5G fits in nicely as an intermediate solution that is affordable and also, all right, give you the coverage of 4G. Well, with 5G as the backbone for connectivity, suddenly you realize that many of the things that you have taken for granted on land, all right, solutions that take on granted on land can now also be executed on the sea, all right? So we actually created quite a number of digital initiatives that accelerate transformation along many verticals, which I'll share a bit later with you. Now, to drive the adoption of 5G, we also put together some solution suites to actually help maritime industry, both on land and off land, to adopt it more quickly. I think most customers are not looking to adopt connectivity today. They are looking to adopt a solution. So we came up with what we call four particular areas that we noticed that there was a lot of demands. And I'm happy to, if you have further questions, I'm happy to actually take this offline with you. I will share only a few examples here today, and I'll just cover two in particular. One of which is Smart Safe. This is where the solution in the box from M1 will take care of worker safety, wellness in the maritime industry for seafarers as well as port workers. The other areas that we notice a lot of requests coming to us are in areas of smart security. All right, this again provide video surveillance using 5G onshore and on ship as well. In the past, with 4G, the number of angles, number of streams, the type of quality of video you can watch in the sea using 4G is limited. With 5G now, suddenly you got now land-based capability as good as a landline, all right, anywhere on the sea. Extending that, I think you heard from the two speakers earlier, there are IoTs and other solutions that also uses 5G. Now, for us, I think we have actually launched Smart Asset. This allows us to create IoT solutions that ensure uptime and serviceability of critical assets, whether it's a rig, a ship, or a factory near the shore, or a shipyard near the shore that supports the maritime industry. Here, 5G plays an important role beyond just higher bandwidth and better latency. We are talking about massive connection of many devices simultaneously to a network that can then be can be monitored by a single person. Lastly, we also look at smart ops. This actually, if you ask me, is where I think we have the most value for the maritime industry. What we enable 5G now allow us to get into every single industry that's served by the maritime industry, whether it's a shipping company, a shipyard, or logistic companies. What we do here is actually look at how traditional productivity and work are done in the industry and how 5G can then digitize and transform the operations, thereby creating huge amount of cost savings in terms of labor. As you know, Singapore is very labor tight in terms of labor, and of course, can we do things better, faster, with much more scalability? All right, so this is something that will create a lot of opportunity for us. Now, let me just explain the concept behind these four solutions that we are creating here. Primarily, we wanted to deploy something quick and simple. Most of you who have went through use case, even the slides are complicated. All right, so when the customer comes to us, they are not asking for 5G connectivity. They are asking for a solution out of the box. So I think for us to fit to these four verticals, solution class, we may ensure that every solution is quick, simple to deploy, repeatable with minimum configuration. The only thing that's common to them is our 5G true SA network. And that is really something that they will take advantage of in order to maximize various areas in their business. And of course, customers are telling us they want to use 5G, but make it low cost and to implement from a CAPEX and OPEX model. All right. Lastly, they want it to be easy to maintain. So I think for M1, we have actually achieved 3 of these things. All right. And some of the examples I will give you after this to actually make 5G something more palatable, something that can be deployed very quickly rather than a long cycle of 3, 6, 8 months, which we did in the beginning when we are doing pilots and trials. Now, I think we are in a position to scale some of these solutions very quickly, rapidly to the same companies in the particular verticals in the maritime industries. Now, let me cover one area, just two small solutions within SmartSafe. We have deployed smartwatches, all right, on shipyards. We also are moving now these smartwatches to basically ship owners, people on the ships, crews, etc. All right. What was used to be a landlocked system that tracks staff, measure productivities, detect anomalies in the staff, can now also be replicated onto the ships, the yachts, any of these vessels in the sea. All right. Another thing that we can now do is telemedicine. Today we communicate on land and with each other now over Zoom, WebEx, Teams. Now the doctors can now really communicate with vessels docked off the shore of Singapore using telemedicine. And I cannot explain how useful this is. All right. In the past, you probably need somebody to send the worker to shore or a doctor to see if there's an urgent case. Now with telemedicine, high definition video, you can now quickly, rapidly diagnose a problem, and even better, what used to be collected at the ports when you dock the medication can even be delivered using drones. Now, let me share with you just one of this, the particular smartwatch scenario. So I think on a typical scenario, whether on land or on sea, you can easily monitor vital signs. I can share with you one of the great examples that we have. We can actually look at the data analytics of all the workers that we have and on the ships and cruise as well, and monitor vital signs. Is the heart beating faster like me now when I'm talking to you, or no? Are they falling off somewhere, or have they stopped moving? Allow emergency connectivity calls to the ports. All right, safety notification. And you know that in this shipping industries, we have many different workers from all over the world. We support more than 7-8 languages, which can be broadcast simultaneously to all the workers. All right. Lastly, it allows to look at our workforce visibility on land as well as on a big ship. Where exactly are they? All right. We do not just want to track them, but also to find out whether they are still okay, and as they are working, is things going well for them. Now, telemedicine is nothing new. Think of it as the Zoom, all right, the WebEx for the seafarers. All right. Now they can see doctors like you and me visit a clinic today. All right. And I think with this, powered by this solution, a lot of diagnostics are now more clearer with 5G. With 4G, you can still see the doctor, but there's some you will be able to you appreciate it when you are diagnosing a small bump on your hand. All right, where the video is not so clear on the 4G, but with 5G, you get crystal clear, high definition video, and that allows better diagnostics. All right, everything is like your Zoom application operated on a particular handphone or tablet. All right, and again, here we partners with healthcare operators to actually offer this to seafarers, making their safety and wellness a priority and focus for us. In terms of security and surveillance, I've covered this many times, all right, but we always came back to the fundamental issue of why is surveillance and video so important. 5G creates high bandwidth streams for many camera streams. In the past, on the ships or on the land, you can have a few streams, all right? And quality of the cameras were good, but can it be better? Because with better video, you can then have video analytics, all right? And on land, we can detect people wearing helmets. On the ship, same thing now. As they are working on the ships, are workers now wearing helmets? Are they now going to an area on the ship which is dangerous? Are there obstacles? Are there dangerous objects on the ships that can be detected and alerted? All right. What used to be monitored by a human being can now be automated with AI using video surveillance. Lastly, I think we have created the best benefit of 5G is that you can do this for a large fleet of ships, not just one ship, but many ships. All right, so you can see a fleet of ships that can connect to it at the same time. If you only have 4G, I can guarantee you that many of these ships will be sharing the same connection. With 5G, with slicing, with MEC, a lot of this connectivity and edge computing can now be provided to the ships. And I mentioned earlier, we want to leverage technology to do more than that. All right, I think we are not just looking at just connectivity, but also data analytics, video analytics, assisted augmented reality, something that we do for fun on land can now serve real purpose on the ships. Lastly, I think this is my most important slide. I wanted to share with the team here, the GSMA here, that in the past as a telco,
2 days ago. So yesterday I already called Coco.
Sorry.
So it looks like there's one pipe next to the
Sorry, can you mute the
same
line?
level.
Sorry.
Anyone?
Some leakage. That's the finding. So they are rectifying it. So whether there's
Christina,
I thought it's the toilet
Plans.
itself.
Sorry.
Christina, can you mute Clan's line?
I couldn't, but he said there's some smell.
Yeah, he told me
Yeah.
yesterday.
Then after that, while walking through that path, I smell there's some really damp.
Clan, can you mute the line?
I think so because I saw the
I see.
contractor.
Then sometimes the toilet you didn't wash timely also.
Because the current contractor CS.
Hello.
The contract is going to end in
Christina, Christina, can you hear?
every day.
Can you mute the line of Clan?
Every day DMD is LDing them.
Huh.
Each worker is $100 per day. So yesterday,
Sorry.
already 1K.
Apologize.
They
I think
they don't
some
mind.
of our
Cause no
panelists
worker.
down here. Yeah.
This morning, Sunwa also complained. One kid also complained so many.
Clan.
Okay.
Honestly, I can't smell. I told you yesterday also.
A bit. I could tell. Initially I couldn't. After that, he said then the sense was right.
Christina, can you hear?
Thanks.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
I guess this is the benefit of 5G. Actually, I'm also on a 5G connection, so we can have multiple connections at the same time. I can still hear me clearly. Okay, so let me just cover the last two slides. I think we're a bit behind time. I know in the traditional telco model, this was often a question that many customers and many organizations ask me. In the past, the telecom operator would just be selling connectivity and managed services. And how does 5G change that equation for us? Suddenly, if you look at 5G today, we are not just selling connectivity, cloud and compute infrastructure, devices, including the drones, robots, etc. But suddenly we are now, as a telco, we can now sell much more things, platform services, all right? Whether on a ship platform, a building platform, safety platform, you can now also sell consulting services, content creation services, and more importantly, you can now offer a service, business service to your customers. Now, beyond selling just a one-off service, a recurring service or one-off sales, you can also now price your products based on outcomes. For telemedicine, you can now price it based on number of visits, all right? For drones, you can now price it on number of objects you detect on sea, all right? How many objects are available, etc. And We can also drive a KPI-driven outcome with the customers as you deploy 5G. Lastly, you can also look at modernizing data analytics to help you to make the best use of the 5G data you collect, the massive amount of data you collect, whether it's video or on 5G as well. So I guess for the telecom operators on this call today, I urge you to work to think of new models. 5G is just not a technology that telecom operators like us use and sell traditionally. We must leverage on this to actually create new business model, new outcomes, not only for our customers, but for ourselves as telecom operators. Now, lastly, I just want to mention that the approach to enabling 5G is also going to be very different, all right? In the past, we build a network, we sell it. Now, I think we now have to sandbox POC trial solutions, create a lab, all right? Co-develop the solution, even with customers, with competitors, with anybody who can actually benefit us. Then we leverage on the 5G capabilities and then extend it to our ICT partners. Now, using this methodology, we have successfully created 4 products. In the IT world, we call this agile methodology, all right? So I think we have so agilely created solutions and product owners for this thing very, very quickly. And without 5G, we never would have thought that how close and how agile a telco can be. All right, so I think this is my last slide. I think there's a call for collaborations for M1. Today, I hope to meet many of you over LinkedIn. I think my link will be submitted by Terence later. Hope to see many of you over email. You got my QR code, my card. Happy to meet and explore ideas together. And for customers who are on the call today, we are making available a number of SIM cards, all right? Today, as you know, if you're just selling SIM card, there's no business model for a telecom operator. What we want is to provide these SIM cards to you, all right? And we hope to actually be part of your digital solution, who co-create solution together with industry. And lastly, I think next week is C Asia. M1 has a big booth, and we will be seeing you there. And for some of our colleagues, we will be hosting some of you all and on C as well to see some of this 5G network that we have just rolled out. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope the short interruption wasn't anything, and I'm quite glad I managed to complete this exercise 100% on a 5G connection. Thank you.
Thanks, Willis. I love your idea. Very simple 5G offer, right? Just like your surname, Sim. So thanks again. So if you have any question to Willis, just remind to put your question in the Q&A tab. So now, Willis, please stop sharing. And also, meanwhile, let me introduce the next pair of speakers from Thailand, which is Dr. Kamal Kamaransine, Director of Communication and Network Research Group of National Electronic and Computer Technology Center, and also my friend, Devachai Kiyokukwa, the Head of Enterprise Marketing Management and SME Business from AIS. So over to you, Devachai. I think your gray overlay comes up again in the sharing.
Okay, thank you, Terence. In this session, I and Khun Nawachai will present about our 5G in warehouse logistics. And I will be the first presenter in this joint presentation. Okay, Khun Nawachai, please.
We still see the gray overlay. Maybe you have to remind to share the whole screen rather than an application.
Okay, let me try once again. Sorry for that.
Oh, no worry. So we are a little bit overrun. So yeah, sorry for the attendance, but I hope that you enjoy the section and yeah, stay tuned.
It is okay now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please.
Yes, thank you, GSMA and 5G community, APAC industry community for having me on this presentation. Let me introduce our organization a little bit. We are a research institute in Thailand, and we also help pushing technology for our private sector in Thailand. So let me move on to the next slide, Khun Nawachai. Thank you. First of all, I would like to give you some overview of the whole thing here about the logistic in the next generation, like logistic 4.0, which is quite similar to industry 4.0 idea. The main idea is to trying to transform the logistic industry using new technique like 5G or automation. We try to digitalize supply chain, automate the supply chain, so that the main key for the future logistic. So there are several things that we need to consider in transforming the logistic industry. For example, we need to have like smart device, intelligent object like intelligent pallet, intelligent container, also intelligent software like in the warehouse management system, and some of the transport system like autonomous vehicle or autonomous forklift or autonomous AGV. Okay, so we would like to add some intelligence into the process of logistics system, and we're trying to work more efficiently with several partners in the ecosystem of the logistics. So this idea of logistic 4.0 is coming from Germany, Hanover Messe exhibition. Okay, and the main idea is to trying to give you a self-monitoring and self-adaptive logistics. Okay, Kun Nawachai, please move to the next slide. So since the logistics is quite big, we start investigating from the first part is the warehouse, which is one of the first area that we would like to introduce 5G technology into the logistics system. So the idea of smart warehouse is trying to change the operation inside the warehouse with modern technique like automatic forklift and some other thing that reduce the workload of the human. So we're trying to introduce the new machine, new computer to trying to automate the operation inside the warehouse. So we can also say we will have the warehouse 4.0, which also analogous to the industry 4.0. Okay, so inside the warehouse, what do? We're trying to automate the process and operation inside the warehouse. We trying to apply the IoT into the logistics and into the warehouse. So in recent year, we have seen several warehouse have transformed with automatic warehouse to fully automated warehouse in many countries. Okay, and there are also other techniques that can be introduced into the warehouse. Okay, next slide, please. So common operation in the warehouse can be listed as this, like delivery, receiving, put away, storage, picking, packing, processing, shipment. As you can see, all these things, some of them can be automated. Some of them can be added with some intelligent processing, so we can make everything inside the warehouse more efficient. So the next slide, please. So in Thailand, we are investigating how we can transform warehouse logistics with 5G. First thing that we can easily introduce is to add the asset tracking. Okay, like in the first presentation of today, we can see that IoT can be used for asset tracking with 5G, and next generation of 5G device will also gain momentum in the market. So we first trying to track the forklift or AGV inside the warehouse. Okay, so using tracking technology. So in Thailand, with NECTEC, we investigating how we tracking the AGV inside the factory. Okay, and inside that factory, there are also warehouse inside the factory with this kind of configuration. Next slide, please. In the next slide, we also working with AIS to tracking multiple forklift and tow truck inside a big distribution warehouse, like a distribution center in Thailand. Okay, we're trying to use 5G to provide coverage in the very large warehouse, so that we can track multiple forklift and tow truck inside those inside that warehouse. The next slide, please. So one of the use case that we currently investigating is forklift tracking in the warehouse logistics. The warehouse operator trying to operate 22 forklift 24/7, and their operation, in their operation they're trying to monitoring the area that the forklift are working, like you can see on the right hand side here, the heat map showing the busy area of the forklift that working in the loading area inside the warehouse. Okay, and also in the lower picture, you can use the mobile phone to see the real-time location of that forklift that parked in the charging area. Okay, so in this project, we are also working with AS who provide 5G private network for us. Okay, thank you. The next slide, please. Yeah, in the idea that we trying to create is to create a virtual replication of a warehouse inside the digital system. Okay, so the warehouse operator can see the location of the object inside the computer, so that they can manage the space inside the warehouse. Okay, so in this picture we can see that the forklift is running in the virtual area, and where the stack of the pallet is shown in the picture, where the green pallet may be empty, or the location that the forklift can push the pallet onto the shelf, when the system can be used to suggest the location that the pallet can be stored. Okay, next slide, please. So the last two slides, I would like to introduce the area in Thailand that we call EECI. It's in the eastern seaboard of Thailand, where we are currently create a test bed for a smart warehouse. Okay, next slide, please. Inside the test bed, we are currently installing the autonomous forklift, and also e-commerce AGV, and also robot manipulator, and storage system that is automatic storage and retrieval system. Inside this room, AIS also provide 5G cell site for us to test with all this equipment in the warehouse. So this is one of our projects that we trying to investigate the 5G warehouse logistics in Thailand. Okay. So that's all for my part, and I would like to hand over to Khun Nawachai for presenting in the next part. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kabot. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. This is Nawachai from AAS. In case that you don't know about AAS, we are the mobile network operator in Thailand. We're implementing 5G SA in Thailand right now, and we have done the trial and implemented the real use case of 5G in many industries for the last 3 years. For this one, I will share you some use cases of smart transportation and logistics that AAS have been engaging with our customer and our partners so far. Before I jump to the use case, this is the framework that AAS work with our partner in ecosystem, especially for 5G. We strongly believe that mobile network operator alone, we cannot provide full end-to-end service and implementation, system integration to our customer. So we believe that we will be responsible for the left-hand side. We provide them the network, we provide them the digital platform, edge cloud, IoT, and so on. But we work closely with experts in operation technology, or system integrator, or even researcher like NECTEC in order to integrate the 5G solution to each verticals and fully provide our service to our customer. That's why we work closely with many partners in our ecosystem, and NECTEC is one of them that we work very closely, because NECTEC they have a sustainable manufacturing center. Kun Dr. Kamon mentioned earlier that this center they focus to make industry 4.0 and especially for the warehouse 4.0 to be successful, tested or even implemented in Thailand. We have at least 3 initiatives with NECTEC and SMC, Sustainable Manufacturing Center. The first one, we built the 5G test bed in EECI that Dr. Kamon mentioned earlier, and we also have many trial and use cases tested and implemented in the 5G test bed. We also have the promotion campaign to manufacturer or even logistics service provider in case that they would like to try 5G or implement 5G. SMC will provide the sponsorship to the implementer of the 5G, and also AAS will provide the trial period of 5G private network to the customer as well. So this is what we collaborate with NECTEC in order to build the sustainable manufacturing and industry 4.0 happen in Thailand. I would like to share you a couple of use cases that we have implemented so far in Thailand. The first one we implemented in 2020 with Port Authority of Thailand. This is 5G Smart Seaport in Lam Chabang Seaport. Lam Chabang Seaport is the largest and the busiest seaport in Thailand, located in Chonburi Eastern Economic Corridor. This is a manufacturing, there are many manufacturing park or even the automotive OEM factories are located there. For this use case, then in 2020, we did at least 2 use cases. The first one is a CCTV within the seaport. The second one is a remote control crane for the seaport. But recently, we work with the Port Authority of Thailand to test for autonomous truck in this seaport as well. Now, please take a look at the short video clip about this case. Okay, that was the first use case that we implemented in 2020. The next use case is smart warehouse that we work with Somboon Factory. And in their factory, Somboon Factory is the second largest automotive part manufacturer in Thailand. Their factory located in Rayong province. They implement 5G in their factory for 3 use cases. The first one is ASRS, the smart warehouse one. Second one, they also implement 5G for their AGV. And the last one, they implement 5G for their 3D machine vision in their warehouse. Their requirement, they need speed more than 100 megabits per second. And yes, 5G can do that. And they also need stable low latency, less than 20 milliseconds. And we did this use case with many partners. And I will show you the full video about this use case for the next one. Please take a look.
Somboon Advanced Technology, Thailand's second largest auto parts manufacturer, is providing over 50 types of auto parts for the world's top 10 car brands. Before implementing 5G, Somboon had struggled with order fulfillment efficiency. With many different customers and products to deliver, as a consequence, it was difficult to get everything delivered accurately and on time.
Let's see how the Songboon factory utilizes 5G technology to realize automatic logistics and smart warehousing. Come to follow me.
The 5G network covers the whole plant, and more than 100 devices have been connected.
To be competitive in our regional global markets, industry digitalization has always been Songboon's core strategy. 5G and cloud is the key technology for digitalization. SAT has implemented new solutions for digital transformation, which are 3D vision robot, ASIS warehouse, and unmanned AGV. With the collaboration work with CSMA AIS Business and Huawei, 5G and cloud network have deeply dived into our production.
Here we see how the 5G AGV are being used in the factory.
5G can provide a network with zero packet loss and zero downtime, even in a complex factory environment with lots of AGVs working at the same time. When the partially finished axles are transferred to a production cell, the robotic arm must sort them onto the different production lines. The 5G network provides an uplink rate of more than 100 megabytes per second. This ensures the error-free transmission of the HD images so that the parts can be quickly and accurately moved.
After mechanical processing, the finished axles need to be transported to the warehouse.
The 5G network can provide good coverage and low latency in such a complex environment, ensuring that stackers and other AGVs can collaborate seamlessly with the warehouse system.
The 5G enable automate, process double the inbound and outbound efficiency. That's how 5G make operations smart.
Thanks to Khun Napasorn for commitment and inspiring vision to embrace a leading digital transformation towards Smart Factory 4.0 with collaboration of Huawei and CSMA, providing 5G total solution to enable Songboon's digitized solution and overcome the changes of the digital world together.
In the very near future, 5.5G will enable more use cases and enable more industry digitalization. There is no doubt that more innovative services are coming, and that 5.5G will pave the path to a more intelligent world.
Yes, you would notice that we work closely with many partners in order to bring this opportunity happen in Thailand. So we work not only with partners like Huawei or other operation technology partner, but we also work with government agency like DECTEC or SMC to promote and to make the research and development of 5G use case happen in Thailand. For MNO, I think especially for the MNO who work for B2B business, I think that the key one is to build 5G ecosystem and not only provide just our network, but also provide digital infrastructure like cloud, edge, or IoT services in order to fulfill what the requirement in the market needed. So I would like to thank GSMA again for the APAC 5G industrial community to make the community closer and closer and share the use case. And I would like to learn from all of you and in case that whatever AS can support you, please do not hesitate to contact us and visit our website. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Kamal and also Nevachai. Yes, if you want to connect to both of them, please click the link in the chat box. You can find their profile and can connect them. And again, if you have any question, just post in the Q&A tab to our two speakers. And then now we start to the final session, which is a panel discussion moderated by Mohammed Chowdhury, the founder and CEO of Long Street Advisors. Mohammed is also the ex-PwC partner with long years of experience. So let me hand over to Mohammed and please introduce your panelists. Thanks. Over to you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Terence, and good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's really nice to see you. So for the last 20-25 minutes of this session, we're really going to try and get the energy going, talking to amongst three amazing panelists. We've actually got one person who is like a user of 5G IoT, one person who works on solutions and another person who works on connectivity. So we've got almost like the whole value chain on this panel. So I'm going to start with Sim Soon Huat, who is the head of IT infrastructure at PSA Singapore. Soon, welcome to the panel. Tell us a bit about PSA Singapore and tell us a bit about why you're interested in 5G IoT.
Okay, so I'm from PSA. PSA is a supply chain operator globally, but specifically I'm from PSA Singapore, which for that, we are a seaport operator. Okay, so PSA Singapore is among the world's busiest transshipment hub for container shipping, and the port itself handled 37 million TEUs in 2022, which amounts to about 1/7 of the world's total container transshipment throughput. Okay, so for the port, what makes us interested in 5G, right? I think connectivity is a cornerstone of a connected port, where all the equipment are digitalized. And the wireless connectivity is especially important because there are a lot of moving container equipment that need the connectivity to receive jobs and instructions. Because when you want to digitalize, it means that everyone needs at least some onboard computer or tablet and whatnot to receive which container to pick up, where to put it, or where to go. So in the traditional model, we have human operators on the container equipment. Now, as we move towards even higher levels of automation and digitalization, then it comes into automated vehicles. We have AGVs at our Tuas Megaport that do not have human operators at all, and they move by themselves, utilizing instructions received from our backend systems. So for us, it's a journey when we talk about connectivity for all these wireless equipment, because wireless, especially from the cellular operator, offers a wide coverage, which is important in the port environment because there is not many places to mount equipment for base stations or antennas or whatnot. So, and there are also other challenges like a changing landscape because the container profile, the way the containers are stacked in the seaport changes over time. Sometimes there is a mountain here, sometimes it shifts to another site due to whatever container flows that we have. And there's also, in a very heavy metallic environment, there are things such as radio loss, refraction, diffraction. So for us, we started with GPRS, we moved on to 3G, and when 4G came, we moved on to 4G. So with every generation of cellular technologies that we embark on, it offers benefits because there are new capabilities that we can offer, and it offers better performance. So with 5G, what we are looking at is about what we can do with a lot of massive quantities of IoT devices over cellular. And the other key thing is about teleoperations, thanks to ultra low latency, where we can control vehicles or cranes remotely over 5G with low latency that's required for human safety and accuracy. Yeah. So for us, it's important that 5G develops well in the industry because then it becomes more effective to source for 5G compatible equipment in the market, right? Like let's say you want to find a ruggedized tablet with 5G today. Not very easy. It takes a bit of time, or people may, the manufacturers may say due to market uptake, it will take a bit longer before this will hit the market and whatnot. Or even cellular routers for different kinds of 5G use cases, especially those industrial type. Example, you want an MMO with cellular router and whatnot, things like that, we have to source for it. Yeah, so this is our interest in utilizing 5G for further developing capabilities in the port and also to make adoption easier.
Thank you, Sun. Thank you. That's very good to get that overview of your experience and what you really want from 5G IoT. You're very much in that journey. Let's talk to our next panelist. I'm going to call on Andy. Andy, welcome to the panel. You are the Chief Digital Officer of Global Aviation at Huawei. So we're going to move from the port to the aviation. Andy, tell us about why 5G IoT is important, and tell us about how you are going to work with this technology to unlock some real impacts for your customers?
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. I find it very interesting to jump from the sea freight to aviation, because I think there are some similarities. Aviation, okay, it's a form of transportation with people and cargo, but at the same time, it's a very fast-moving business. For example, where I came from from Hong Kong, I worked in Hong Kong airport for a long time. Every minute we have a plane landing or leaving. So you can imagine that the type of activities that are happening to support these sort of throughput. And secondly, you in an airport, you also, like a seaport, you involve a wide variety of stakeholders. So we obviously have the airlines, we have the airport operators, but there are ground staff, there are engineering staff, there are catering staff. And everyone, in order to do a good job, needs to work closely together. So the connectivity, the collaboration bit is extremely important. And when we need to collaborate effectively, it's not just having telephone conversation or walkie-talkies, right? Nowadays, we want to see what is happening. So the sharing of video, high quality video, and all these things happening in real time, it's a real challenge for the connectivity infrastructure. And secondly, not the least, for aviation safety is of prime importance. Similar to seaports, we're also seeing a lot of introduction of autonomous vehicles, remote operation. Now, in order to ensure the maximum safety and reliability being achieved, the low latency of a 5G connectivity is extremely important. Think about autonomous vehicle. Okay, we have all the sensors, but we want to have that emergency button. We want to have that reaction time that is about a few milliseconds, maybe, to react to unforeseen circumstances to ensure maximum safety is achieved. And thirdly, because of COVID nowadays, the good news is aviation is recovering very quickly. There are challenges ahead. One of them is the lack of manpower to support the growth. The other one is with the climate change, we also have a lot of attention on sustainability. So we keep talking about data-driven organization or data-driven airport. Where does the data come from? So the IoT aspect of 5G also contributes to that. All the people, all the objects, all the planes in an airport will start transmitting data. And we need a way whereby these data will be collected effectively so to assist better decision-making over at the airport.
Thank you. Now, I'm really keen to ask you a question, which is, will your solution cut costs so that our airfares come back down again? But that's probably not the right question to ask you. But one point you raised, right, is that we need reliability, we need resilience, we need latency to be low. And of course, these are critical technologies, because when we're talking about a port, when we're talking about an airport, we want a technology we can absolutely rely on and is critical. So with that, I'm going to turn to our third panelist. Shahbaz, welcome to the panel. So you are coming from the connectivity side, and I'm going to try and pronounce this right. You're coming from a company, Sattel IoT, which is a Spanish company. So tell us about Sattel IoT and tell us about, well, I think you're interested in standards or standardization, but you tell us what you want to tell us, and please tell us a bit about Sattel IoT first. Can't hear you, Shahbaz. Can't hear you. Okay, while Shahbaz is trying to fix his sound, so Shahbaz, you start speaking as soon as you're ready. I'm going to go back to Soon. So Soon, let's just pick up on this topic about the critical technology. Like we just heard from Andy about why this is so critical from an aviation perspective. can you take us a little bit to the reality of your operations? So you're a transshipment service provider in various ports. Give us a real example of how you will rely on this technology to be able to take your productivity and efficiency forward.
Okay, I'll cover this from the point of teleoperations, right? Because we do automation today. And what does automation entail? Automation entails sensors. We have laser sensors scanning the container profiles so that you know how high the containers are stacked. And you have videos, a lot of videos. Well, our automated crane has like, 30 cameras on it. And they do different kinds of computer vision analysis in terms of container number, angle, and whatnot. So all this goes into automation. And of course, with automation, then I think nothing is perfect. There will be exceptions. And so in the case where automation is not able to proceed due to certain exceptions, that's where we have this manual intervention. The human needs to come in. But the human operator is no longer at the crane, right? And especially for those movable vehicle type of cranes and whatnot, we have to control it remotely. So now then, how does the human control it remotely? We stream the cameras back, right? So video streaming for camera is heavy, and depending on what resolution you want it at, and what latency or what encoding that we use, each video stream can easily be 2 Mbps to 4. Yeah, so you want the video to come in at low latency so that what your operator sees and what is happening there, your error of margin for, let's say, any error is minimized when the latency is ultra low. So I think you have seen cases like 5G is used for remote surgery and whatnot. So remotely handling the crane is somewhat similar to remote surgery. What you see is what you get, and what you do is what is sent over almost immediately. So what we see is there's a lot of opportunities once we have a reliable medium in place like 5G to do remote operations or teleoperations. Yeah.
Thank you, Sun. Thank you. Now let's see if we can go back to Shahbaz. Shahbaz, can you hear me
now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's good. It's good. Okay, so tell us about subtle IoT, Shahbaz.
Yeah. Okay. So we are the world's first 5G narrowband IoT satellite LEO operator, and our vision is to provide the ubiquitous, seamless, standardized connectivity across the globe. Currently, if you see that 85% of the globe is unserved from the connectivity perspective. So that's what our vision is, to provide the standard connectivity specifically for the IoT devices across the globe. What I believe is the standardization is the key. If you see the overall IoT market, the overall value chain, it's pretty much fragmented at the moment. So what customers are demanding? Customers are demanding the affordable, scalable, and robust solutions from the IoT ecosystem. So this standardization will bring scalability, affordability, and the friction-free adoption to the technology. So this is the standardization in the ecosystem is the key. Also, I would like to mention the standardization will certainly help in the policy making. If you see the regulators and across all the authorities in the different parts of the globe, they need the standardization to be in place, which makes it easier for them to define certain policies which will encourage the massive adoption of IoT across the globe. So standardization, I think, is the key. And the need of the time is that we, as ecosystem players, needs to work together and to promote and to scale and to adopt all the standard IoT solution, which will certainly help the end customers.
And thank you, Shahbaz. And just going back to the point about 85% of the globe not being covered by a terrestrial network, just help us understand, where does Sattel IoT's solution become relevant? Like, can you give us some examples of a couple of use cases where your solution is enabling, the impacts to be felt?
Yeah, sure. So what specific use cases, if you see from the use case perspective, the verticals like agriculture, mining, forestry, oil and gas, environmental, these are the use cases which are typically either paying very high cost for some available legacy solutions for the connectivity, or they do not have any connectivity at the moment. So that and the need is there, the market is there, the demand is there. So that's why our solution is the fully standardized end-to-end, which will bring the affordable connectivity right from the UE, right from the terminals to the satellite and to the internet, and using the same power of MNOs. It will be the same seamless customer of MNOs and MVNOs who will keep on serving the customers both on terrestrial and non-terrestrial connectivity. It will be the seamless transition for the end customer who will switch from the terrestrial and non-terrestrial connectivity on the same single standard device. This is the power of standardization.
Okay, thank you very much, Shabazz, and good to see you on two screens now, so thank you very much. Andy, I think, and I'd like you to get into discussion with each other if it's a bit harder on the video, but let's try it. Andy, I think one point you mentioned was resilience. Right. Now, can you tell us a bit more about that? Because I think as users or as audience, we all use airports, and we all want to use airports which are efficient, fast, productive, handling volume, but also resilient in terms of the networks that they're using, right? So can you tell us a bit more about what resiliency means? How do you make that real?
Okay, thank you for that question. First of all, even before COVID happened, we have been talking about resilience at the airport, particularly on topics like cybersecurity. So the idea is not so much just on cost cutting, because I think sometimes when things are good, everyone wants to squeeze every bit of efficiency out of it so that everyone pay less. But one fine day, you'll find out that, oh, you have cut it so much that you have no room, you have no spare to react to unforeseen circumstances like cyber attack. But lo and behold, we don't need that because COVID came. And then everyone feels that, oh, we've never imagined something like COVID can happen to the industry, whereby it's been hit heavily in terms of financial, in terms of manpower, in terms of the business itself, the traffic. So I think the concept of resiliency, having an alternative, having an ability to react to unforeseen circumstances, extremely important. Now, this resiliency would require a new capability. I think, of course, I'm not saying that 5G can solve all the problem, but 5G as a technology can provide it with immense capability in terms of quick to react or to orchestrate complicated activities. I think this is where the resiliency part will come in. So that is probably one of the reasons why, apart from the 3GPP standardization on the technology itself, in the aviation industry, for example, in China, last year, the Civil Aviation Authority of China has published a roadmap on the adoption of 5G as the next generation of aeromax. So it is an industry standardization effort so that we can then set the field clear for ecosystem to feel comfortable to invest in the technology to provide solutions.
Okay, Andy, thank you very much. Now we've got about 3 or 4 minutes. So I'm going to quickly go around each panelist, and I'm just going to ask you simple question and 15 to 20 second, 30-second answer max. Soon, I'm going to start with you because you are the transshipment guy. You are the user of some of these solutions and capabilities. What do you, and you've got 100+ participants on this call, many of whom are solution providers and connectivity providers. So what is it that you want? What's the critical thing that you're looking for from this industry ecosystem that's going to help you be successful at PSA?
Okay, so I think I shared a bit of challenges in terms of the environment, right? A very difficult environment here in Singapore because space is a bit short. We're a bit short on space, so we tend to stack high. So what we look for is solutions that work well in our port environment. Because we stack high and we stack dense, this is a bit different from probably some other countries where they stack low and they spread. Yeah. So we're looking for solutions, 5G, high throughput, low latency, that helps us in terms of the equipment that we can get. As I mentioned, ruggedized tablets is one of them. Cellular routers for specific 5G use cases, and other things that typically helps in mobility. So the other thing is about moving vehicles, right? You need the connection to be stable, so when the vehicle is moving and able to receive no problems and whatnot. So these are things that, as we hope more people adopt, the market matures, and there'll be more products on the market that we're able to try and select from. Yeah.
Thank you, Sun. Okay, thank you. That's good. Okay, I'm going to go to Shahbaz. So what is from your, and I'm going to ask the same question to Andy. So Shahbaz, over the next 6 to 12 months, what are the steps that you would be liking to take that help you move forward with your product and solution?
Yeah. So as I said earlier, the need of the time is that all the ecosystem player in the value chain needs to work together to push these standardized solutions, which means right from the chipset manufacturers, the module manufacturers, the connectivity providers like us, and also in the value chain, the hyperscalers, and also the end IoT solution providers needs to work together to implement and start implementing the standardized solution end to end. This will give a seamless experience, the single point of contact, single point of the integration for the end customer. And also it will help the standardized integration between each of us. So this will easily scale up this solution. And the important point is that it will bring the affordability for the end customer, which is must to have for scaling the solution across the globe, I can say.
Okay, thank you, Shahbaz. And certainly in my native Australia, 5G standards development is now very much a focus for policymakers as well. So absolutely understand that. Thank you. Andy, same question to you. So over the next 6 to 12 months, what are the main accomplishments you would like to achieve for aviation solutions?
Okay, I think the low latency and ultra reliable communication part of the 5G is what stands out, at least to me, for the application in the aviation sector. I just maybe want to add one more point, is that I think a lot of people are worried about the investment, about the cost. But I would urge all our colleagues to really look at the value generation, because I think, at least in the aviation industry, we have been faced with immense difficulties. We talked about resilience, we talked about manpower shortages, we talked about pressure on sustainability. Now, a lot of those objectives will not be able to achieve via traditional technological means. So I think if, for the next 6 to 12 months, I'll be talking to different colleagues in the industry to explore how we can add value using a technology like 5G, AI, and cloud.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you to all of the panelists for a quick fire panel. And thank you, everybody, for staying through there. And Terence, back to yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mohammed and Andy, Simsun, and also Shahbaz. I think, again, I think we have a very good content for the last 2 hours. I think APAC is still a very strong momentum for 5G adaptation in enterprises and also even government, they drive very hard to support you guys, enterprises to adopt 5G. So I think I just want to recap a little bit of learning. I think you see that actually 5G is playing a very key role as an enabler for digital transformation. You already seeing how Singapore, Thailand, with a very concrete example to support their industry on adopting 5G. And also we hear from Andy, actually Hong Kong airport already adopting 5G private network, not for the consumer side only, I mean for using the public 5G, but also actually putting private 5G for their operation in the airport every day. So there are a lot of opportunity. And of course, the challenge is still the cost. We heard about the cost, the standardization. I think we definitely need to work harder. I think the good thing is we see a lot of module device maker is jump into the ecosystem to support new devices, to support the new specification from 3GPP. So hopefully we will see more and more concrete use case and also with the scale to drive down the cost. So finally, I would like to just share you again the next activity, which is the MWC Shanghai on end of June. So we will expect that to see a large scale of 5G story implementation best practice in China in the Shanghai event. So again, if you need any passes or if you want to participate or speak or exhibit or sponsor in MWC Shanghai, welcome to connect me and then I can share you more information. So thank you again for all the speaker, all the attendants. See you next time when we have the next activity. We will definitely using our social media channel and the newsletter or email communication to let you know. Thanks again. Bye-bye.